to the EQ Fit podcast. Our mission is to equip people to prosper in every aspect of their life. Whether you're at home or in the workplace, we explore practical ways of improving success, satisfaction, finding balance, and building enjoyable and beneficial relationships. Thank you for joining us. So we continue our 4 C's of Leadership series, and the final one is capacity, which I look at as the ability to cultivate growth, both in the leader themselves and in their team, in their people. Capacity is foundational in leadership because if you can grow capacity, it unlocks unrealized potential, both in the leader themselves and also in other people. So by focusing on realizing potential and cultivating motivation, which is a part of growing capacity, leaders can inspire their teams, they can tackle significant challenges and opportunities, and they can achieve remarkable goals. So let's break these 2 down. First, potential realized. How do we realize potential? Well, we define it as the process of nurturing the inherent abilities and talents within the leader themselves and within the people in their team. When leaders focus on realizing potential, they encourage continuous learning and skill development, fostering innovation and adaptation. And those are so critical right now. In the crazy world that we live in, we need to be able to be adaptable, to be able to come up with new and different ways of doing things, because things are changing so quickly. So the answer to rapid change and fast-paced increases in technology is to become more agile and more resilient. It is to grow the capacity within ourselves and within our people. So how do we do that? We start by developing potential, focusing in on what is inherent in the leader and in the people as far as gifts that they have, talents that they have, unrealized potential that can be unlocked. Well, first, let's just focus on, before we get to the how we do that, what is the benefit of doing that? Why should we put a lot of time and effort as leaders into realizing our own potential and the potential of others? And I know a lot of people will say, well, that's ridiculous. Of course we want to do that. We want to get the most we can. We want to be the best version of ourselves. But let's break it down, because there are some real bottom line benefits of spending the time and investing the effort to realize that unrealized potential. And this speaks right to why should we do leadership development? Because there is a true ROI. We know, and I know from my own experience, I've heard studies, I've seen studies, 400% return on investment, 500% return on investment, which is basically $4 for every dollar you spend on leadership development. I can tell you, in the things that I have put together and in conjunction with my partner, Chuck Coker at Life Thrive, we're seeing a $7 to $26 return on investment for every dollar spent on leadership development, because we're doing it in such a unique way that it opens the opportunities for leaders to grow in ways they wouldn't even expect, and ways that have an incredible impact. So yeah, we can double, triple, maybe even quadruple the ROI of more traditional training through the process that we put together in the Life Thrive Leadership Program. This is not a sales pitch for that. Let's get back to capacity. Why is capacity a benefit? Well, first, you enhance innovation. When leaders help team members realize their potential, they tap into a vast reservoir of creativity and innovation. The value of that is obvious. It leads to the generation of fresh ideas, new approaches, new ways to solve problems, which really helps to drive the organization forward. The second thing we can look at as far as a benefit is increased engagement. And this is what so many people are looking for. How do we increase engagement with our people? Team members who feel that their potential is recognized and nurtured, and that's the key, recognized and nurtured. Employees today want their talents, their gifts to grow. They need help doing that. And that's what the leader of today needs to do if they want engaged team members. And of course, the value of that, we know for a fact, higher engagement results in increased productivity, better performance, and reduced turnover. So you hang on to good talent. And I mean, every one of those has a bottom line number attached to it. The third benefit of realizing potential in leaders and their people, it's personal and professional growth. Realizing potential involves continuous learning and development, fostering both personal and professional growth. Spend a minute and talk about that. You cannot leave what's going on at home when you go to the office. And so many of us, the office is at home. So we have a great number of remote workers in our world today. The reality is you cannot segregate the personal and professional from each other. It just doesn't work. You know, I've had owners of organizations tell me, gosh, just leave that emotional stuff at home. I don't want your personal life coming into the workplace. And that's just, honestly, without being judgmental, that's a ridiculous statement because we carry that stuff with us throughout the day. And I've talked before about the energy exchange. You get up in the morning, the first thing your brain does is start to layer on the stuff that you have to deal with, the challenges in life, the relationships, the things that are going wrong, the things you're worried about. All of that takes energy to deal with. So energy goes internal first to deal with whatever you're dealing with internally, and then what's left over can go externally to the work effort. And the reality is we bring that stuff to work with us. So this is why emotional intelligence skills are so incredibly critical. And it's why we talk about a very specific way of developing leadership skills. The more that we can develop our potential and really help to develop ourselves both personally and professionally, that is going to enhance our capabilities. It's going to enhance the competence, the way we approach things. It's going to enhance our confidence. And it's going to prepare people for whatever's coming in the future. Well, what's the next benefit of this realizing our full potential? Which, by the way, you're never going to realize your full potential because it's a journey. The more the capacity grows in you as an individual, the more that you can do. Therefore, the more competent you can become, the more skills you can learn. So it's an ever-increasing process. You can strengthen team dynamics as well. When potential is realized, team members feel valued and they feel respected. And this creates a positive and collaborative work environment which strengthens team dynamics and cooperation. All of this also directly impacts engagement like we've already talked about. And the last one I'll talk about as a benefit of this realizing potential is achievement of organizational goals. There's a concept. Let's make our goals for the quarter, for the year. Realizing potential within people aligns individual goals with organizational objectives. And that alignment ensures that the collective efforts of the team contribute directly to achieving organizational strategic goals. So I wanted to define the value and the benefit of this first major area in this area of capacity we're talking about. And that, of course, is realizing potential in people, which, it's growing that capacity so people can realize more and more potential within themselves. Well, the second big area here is motivation. It's the internal drive that prompts individuals to act and persist in the face of obstacles. It's a crucial element in the pursuit of achieving objectives and sustaining high performance. Leaders who cultivate their own motivation and inspire it in other people can significantly enhance the commitment of the team, the energy in the team, the focus of the team, which leads to greater productivity and achievement. And that is a place everybody wants to be. So again, let's go through what are the benefits of motivation. Number one, sustained performance. Motivated individuals maintain high levels of performance over time, which consistency in performance ensures that teams meet or exceed their targets and that they contribute to organizational success. The next benefit is resilience and perseverance, and that's big. Motivation helps individuals overcome challenges and setbacks, which is resilience. The more resilient you are, the more able you are to face the next challenge, take advantage of the next opportunity, and overcome setbacks, mistakes, issues that come up, problems. That's why resilience is so very important. Resilient teams can navigate obstacles and maintain momentum toward their goals instead of getting derailed. Another benefit of motivation is increased productivity. Motivated employees are more focused and driven to complete tasks efficiently, which then results in higher productivity, which leads to better outcomes, and this is important here, a stronger competitive advantage in the marketplace. And that's what we need today. We need a competitive advantage in the marketplace. Another benefit of motivation, enhanced job satisfaction. When individuals are motivated, they find greater satisfaction in their work. And satisfied employees are more likely to stay with the organization, which reduces turnover and all of those costs associated with turnover. And the last benefit here on motivation that I'll talk about is a positive work environment. It's last, but it's definitely not least. Motivation fosters a positive and energetic work atmosphere, which leads to an environment which enhances team morale. It encourages collaboration and innovation. And all of that goes directly to profitability. Okay, so between Chuck and I, Chuck being my partner, and we've created this Life Thrive University, specifically the leadership program, we've got about 75 years of experience in developing leaders, developing organizations between us. So I'm going to share some secrets that you're not going to hear anywhere else. How do you get specific skills that help to realize the potential of people and motivate people, both leaders and their teams? Well, let's break these skills down. And of course, this is all part of our program. But again, I want you to focus on these skills specifically and how they might help you. To elevate capacity, which actually enhances competence, because the more capacity you have, the more that you can grow, upskill, and become more competent. Leaders need to develop very specific skills. Now, these skills not only contribute to personal growth, but also significantly impact the effectiveness and the success of their leadership. Here's the first one. Now, I'm going to talk about them, and you're going to know these terms. They're going to be terms that are familiar to you. But I want you to listen to how we break this down into the component parts, because that's where the quote magic is, so to speak. Number one, strategic thinking. Strategic thinking involves the ability to plan for the future, anticipate potential challenges, and create long term goals. What is the impact of that? Leaders with strategic thinking skills can navigate complex situations. They can make more informed decisions. They're not going to get derailed as much. And they can guide their team and their organization towards sustained success. So, this is strategic thinking in practice. How do we develop strategic thinking? Number one, scenario planning. Engage in scenario planning exercises to anticipate various future possibilities and develop strategies for each. Now, here's what I hear so much from leaders I work with. We're too busy. We don't have time. We don't have time to do that. We're just too busy. If you're saying that, you're already lost. What do I mean by lost? You're down in the weeds and you can't see the horizon and what's possible because you're just whacking away at the weeds every day, trying to clear a path through the jungle. When we want to get people to rise up above the weeds so they can be more of a leader and be more strategic. Continuous learning. And this is so important. Stay informed about industry trends, advancements, best practices. Do reading, do courses, do seminars, do leadership programs like the one we offer, the Life Thrive Leadership Program. And the third way to develop strategic thinking is networking. Connect with other leaders and experts to gain diverse perspectives and insights. And I can tell you, as I'm a part of a CEO group that gets together regularly, I can tell you how important that is. Yes, I work with many different owners and senior leaders and even junior leaders in organizations. But the reality is that's not as much a peer-to-peer situation. It is more consultant coach to client. Having that peer group is really important. Okay, what's the next specific skill that you can help develop this area of capacity? Constructive feedback. Constructive feedback involves providing specific, actionable, and respectful feedback aimed at improving performance and development. I would love to see every organization, every team be an environment of feedback. Feedback is a gift. If someone is giving you feedback, they're taking a risk. Even if it's the boss that's giving you that feedback, there is a risk in giving somebody feedback. They may not accept it. They may get upset about it. There's so much that can happen. So we need to really focus in on this constructive feedback construct and get that in place in our teams and our organizations. The leader who gives constructive feedback helps their team members grow. They help them to correct mistakes and learn from them, and they enhance their skills. So how do you give good constructive feedback? How do you develop that skill? Number one, feedback training. Go to training of some kind and online courses. I've got several things I offer people, workshops, etc., that you can learn how to give good feedback and learn the entire feedback process. And believe me, there is a lot to it. It isn't just, I just tell them what I think. That is not true constructive feedback. That may be okay from your perspective, but is it really going to land well with other people? And frankly, is it going to move the needle? There is a process. There are several steps that are important in that constructive feedback process. Practice it regularly. Incorporate regular feedback sessions into your routine to build confidence and skill. And that should be a part of your weekly coaching with your team members if you're a leader. You should have a weekly coaching session. That's a time when people know they can come, find you, have their questions answered, talk over what's going on, so that performance reviews down the road are no issue because everybody already knows where everything is. And it's a forward-looking coaching process, not a backward-looking punitive process or trying to remember what happened 8 months ago or 10 months ago. That's a different episode that I need to do as far as evaluation processes. The last thing around feedback here is seek feedback. Ask for feedback from your team and your peers to understand how to improve your feedback giving approach. Now, the next specific skill in this area of capacity is coaching and mentoring. Of course, I've just talked a little bit about coaching and having weekly coaching opportunities. Coaching and mentoring involve guiding team members, and that's not just, oh, well, we connect when we're on a project or I tell them what to do. That is not coaching, okay? As much as it would be nice to be able to check it off your box and say, I talked to them about how they're doing when I was working with a project. That's not the same thing. Guiding team members to help them achieve their personal and professional goals by supporting them, giving them good advice, and helping them to develop their skills. What is the impact of that? Well, leaders who coach and mentor their teams foster a culture of continuous improvement and development, which we know is very positive. How do we develop this skill of coaching and mentoring? Well, there are mentorship programs you can participate in and learn how to do it. There are coaching certifications. There are coaching courses you can take. We have one with Life Thrive University, how to do good coaching and mentoring. That, by the way, that's not the actual name, but that's what it's all about. And then do one-on-one sessions. Conduct regular one-on-one meetings with team members from a coaching perspective to discuss their progress and their goals. And you will get better and better at it as you go along. All right, a few more specific skills and then we'll close this episode out. Goal setting and accountability. And like I said, you're going to have heard these terms. You're going to have your own idea of what these terms mean, and that's perfectly fine. I want to give you a specific perspective of what we know to be highly successful in leadership and leadership skills when it comes to these things that we're talking about. So, goal setting involves defining clear, measurable objectives, while accountability ensures commitment to achieving those goals. And by the way, again, we've got courses in both of those, how to set good, smart goals and also cultivating accountability. Leaders who can do this, who can set clear goals and then hold people accountable, drive higher performance and achievement. And the other thing that happens there is you start to drive out of the team a lot of the negative feelings and emotions because, well, I'm doing twice what this other person is doing. And I mean, once you put those accountabilities in place, once you make things very clear what the expectations are for people and the goals are, all of a sudden a lot of that drama starts to go away because there are objective things to focus on. And objective measures are what we want. It makes things clear and understandable to people. I guarantee you that's what team members want. Uncertainty is a killer when it comes to productivity. So how do we develop this skill of setting good goals and accountability where we've talked about SMART goals? And again, not a sales pitch, but yes, we've even developed a course for that. How do you develop SMART goals? And you can go online, you can find books, but do it because it's so important. The clarity that comes out of setting good, smart goals for team members is worth gold. I mean, it's worth more than gold, to be honest about it, because it really helps people move forward. And then track progress. Put some kind of a process in place, tools, systems, whatever, to regularly track progress. People want to know how they're doing. And if you don't have a good way to show them how they're doing, then there's always going to be this uncertainty, which we know derails people. And then create accountability partners. That is going to help team members be accountable to somebody other than you as a leader. And it's going to encourage mutual support and responsibility. Okay, so what's the next step here when it comes to the specific skills? It's the emotional support of other people. And okay, you may roll your eyes at this. You may think this has nothing to do with it. For those of you that are struggling with that, let me say it this way: strong mind, strong results. Where does a strong mind come from? A strong mindset. It comes from being able to navigate emotions well and being able to manage those in a way that you're more productive and more effective. So, providing emotional support involves understanding and addressing the emotional needs of team members. And I'm not talking as much about the personal things people are going through, although that could be a part of what we're saying here. But it's also about just the day-to-day stuff that goes on. Emotions are a part of everything we do. They are embedded in every decision we make, every action we take, every motivational moment. I mean, there would be no motivation without emotion. Those things are directly tied together. So engagement is the same way. I define engagement as the emotional commitment somebody has to the effort, to the team, to the organization, to the clients, to the customers. It is the emotional commitment. So that this emotional support is important. Leaders who offer emotional support build trust better and faster. They foster a positive work environment, and they enhance team morale. So how do we then develop that? How do we develop this skill of emotional support? It's a lot easier than you think. Number one, active listening. Practice active listening to understand the concerns and feelings of your team and their perspectives. That's not hard to do. Just listen. And what do I mean active listening? Be fully present in the moment. Don't be looking at something else. Don't be focused somewhere else. Listen carefully to what they're saying and listen to what they're feeling by what they're saying. Number two, empathy training. And this is something we do all the time. And it's so very important. Engage in something that's going to develop empathy so that your emotional intelligence skills go up. And I know that emotional intelligence skills are the one most important skill set when it comes to leadership. Because leadership is not about authority, it's about influence. And if you don't have good emotional intelligence skills, good luck having influence. You may have authoritarian influence over people. I guarantee you will never get their best because they won't be motivated if that's all you've got and if that's the only direction you come from. And then open communication. Create an open door policy to encourage team members to share their concerns and feelings. This is all about supporting the emotional health of people in the workplace. So here's another skill that's so important to this area of capacity, and that's engaging and empowering other people, which involves motivating team members and giving them the autonomy to take initiative and make decisions. I hear all the time from senior leaders and owners of organizations, oh, I want people to have an ownership mindset. Well, do you allow them to have an ownership mindset? Do you give them the autonomy to make decisions and take initiative? Because if you're trying to maintain control while at the same time hoping they have an ownership mindset, those things are not compatible. Yeah, sure, you have to put some controls on things, and there are some things you're not going to turn over to everybody. That's fine. I get that. But that is not where autonomy comes from. You've got to be able to let go and do it thoughtfully, do it in a considered way. Empowered teams are more engaged, they're more innovative, and they're much more committed to their work. Now, how do we create and develop this the skill of engaging and empowering other people. Delegation. Delegate tasks and responsibilities to team members to encourage ownership and accountability. But delegate thoughtfully. Don't set somebody up to fail. Delegate that's a stretch for them, but is within realistic ability for them to achieve what you want them to achieve. And so be thoughtful about how you delegate. Recognition, recognize and celebrate the achievements and contributions of team members. That's very important. And then inclusive decision making. Involve team members in decision making processes so that you foster a sense of ownership and inclusion. And no, it's not going to be every decision, but pick those decisions where you can be more collaborative and more inclusive in that. And then the last specific skill we're going to talk about here in this area of growing capacity, both in leaders ourselves and in our team, our people, is inspirational leadership. And I cannot understate, let me rephrase that, I can't overstate how important that is. It's understated in most organizations, to be honest about it. Inspirational leadership involves motivating and inspiring others through good vision, good passion, and leading by example. Those are wonderful ways to inspire other people. And leaders who can do that create a more motivated, cohesive team that is driven to achieve shared goals. And isn't that what we want? How do we develop this? Number one, communicate your vision well. Clearly communicate your vision and your goals to inspire your team. That's also going to bring a lot of clarity and take away uncertainty at the same time. Lead by example. Demonstrate the behaviors and values that you expect from your team by displaying those yourself. And then good public speaking skills. And I know this is a challenge for some people, and that's fine. We'll work on it. Improve your public speaking skills to effectively convey your passion and your vision. So practice communicating with people. Let's tie this up. Realizing potential and cultivating motivation are absolutely critical components of increasing capacity in leadership. By focusing on these areas, leaders can unlock hidden talents, drive innovation, they can create a motivated and high-performing team. Again, we know this at Life Thrive. Life Thrive Leadership Program is focused on these specific things. And I'm not saying run out there and jump into our program, although we would love to have you. What I'm saying is we know what works and what doesn't, because it's all backed by science. Between Chuck and myself and our 75 plus years of doing this with the psychometrics we use, with my background in neuroscience and emotional intelligence, we have come together and we know what works. So I would encourage you, check things out that have good scientific background, not just the newest fad or this really charismatic speaker that everybody likes. Make sure that when you're investing in yourself, make sure that you invest in yourself in a way that is backed by good science and proven practical processes. And that's what we bring to the table. We want to help you foster a culture of continuous improvement and excellence. So the skills we've talked about, strategic thinking, constructive feedback, coaching and mentoring, goal setting and accountability, emotional support, engaging and empowering other people, and inspirational leadership. Leaders can elevate capacity in themselves and in their people if they will follow that step-by-step process and develop those skills, which is then going to enhance competence of everyone, which is going to drive organizational success. And what a great place that would be to work at, right? Thank you for joining us for this episode. If you have any questions about this week's episode, or maybe a suggestion for future episodes you'd like us to explore, please contact us through our website at eqfit.org. For more information and inspiration, connect with us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube at EQFit.